I stopped teaching my dog obedience. And here's why: you should too. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're a dog trainer. You train hundreds of dogs and their owners. Isn't obedience kind of the whole point? Well, not exactly. You see, over the years of training and working with clients, I've realized quite a few things. And one of them is that obedience isn't all that it's cracked up to be. And over the course of this video, I want to delve into 5 ideas that are going to completely change the way you think about obedience with your dog. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, we first have to ask ourselves one very important question. A lot of people, when they think of obedience when it comes to dog training, they think of the obedience commands. They think of things like sit, down, heel. You see, those are behaviors. Those are behaviors that the dog does. That's not obedience, because obedience isn't something the dog does. Obedience is a state of mind that the dog is in. You see, at the end of the day, a dog is going to do certain behaviors. They may sit for a treat. They may bark to be let outside. Those are behaviors that the dog has learned to do in order to get something they want. However, obedience is when the dog chooses to do the thing that you ask them to do, even when they want to do something else. And that is what I'm talking about when obedience is a state of mind. And this is one of the first things that people get completely wrong about obedience when it comes to dog training. So now that we've kind of gone a little over obedience, we have to ask ourselves this other question. Now, I, as a dog trainer, also compete in competitive dog sports. This requires a high level of obedience with my dogs in a highly competitive environment. And so obedience is not something that I'm just going to never touch again for the rest of my life or my dog's life. However, it is something I am putting a pause on at this point in time with my dog. Over the last several weeks, I have noticed something when I've taken my dog out to train with her. And it wasn't that her obedience was bad. However, the problem that I have seen in my own dog is something that is far more important than the obedience itself. And in order to ask this question, you got to do a simple test. If you take your dog and you don't have any reward or anything the dog wants, no toy, no treats, nothing that the dog wants, will your dog still listen? Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with using treats or rewards or toys in training. That's a very valid thing that we as trainers and dog owners need to do. However, you got to ask yourself, will your dog perform the same way without those? And unfortunately for most dog owners, the case is that their dog won't. Okay. When this is the case and your dog only performs the obedience for the item that you have or something that you have a value to give them, your relationship with your dog is entirely transactional. And this is one of the things that I think separates mediocre dog owners from exceptional dog owners. And this is the concept of internal versus external motivation in dog training. You see, when we're using some kind of treat or toy that we have on us that the dog does obedience in exchange for, we're using what's called external motivation, something that the dog wants. This becomes a very transactional relationship between us and the dog, rather than the dog wanting to do the obedience because they enjoy the activity, that obedience, and they enjoy doing it with us. Think about it this way. When you go to work, you get paid. The second you stop getting paid, you probably stop going to work. However, think about your best friend. Do you have to get paid money to spend time with your best friend? Or do you just enjoy spending that time and doing things with your best friend because of the shared interaction and the presence of being with that person? Now, I don't know about you, but they don't call dog man's best friend for no reason. When we treat the relationship more like a employee-boss relationship than we do a friend relationship, we do a major disservice to not only our dogs, but the relationship that we share with them. And so instead of chasing after and focusing on obedience, I decided to flip the script and focus on this instead. But before we get into that, I want to share something with you that I think is going to genuinely help you and your dog in the relationship you have with them. I've created a free PDF titled The 5 Secrets Dog Trainers Don't Want You to Know. And I want you to have it. In order to get it, you simply just have to go down into the pinned comment or the description of this video, click on the link, and you can download it completely for free. So with that being said, let me go into what I did instead of focusing on obedience. What I started doing, rather than focusing and chasing after the behaviors of obedience, was focus on the relationship and the why that I had with my dog. Things like play, relationship, mutual trust, and communication are all things that I'm shifting the focus on rather than focusing on the mechanical behaviors of obedience. Because at the end of the day, these are the things that are going to keep the obedience from falling apart when put under stress or put into a situation where I do not have complete control over the environment. At the end of the day, I want my interaction with my dog to ultimately be enjoyable, and for the dog to want to spend time with me, not because of something that I have or I possess that I can give to the dog, but because the dog and me genuinely enjoy the relationship and the time that we have to spend with one another. When doing this, you stop building a relationship that is an employee-based relationship and one that is a friend-based relationship, one that will truly last and actually hold up in real everyday situations. And with that, I want to uncover the fifth idea in this video. You see, most dog owners and again, even dog trainers get this wrong. And it's very unfortunate because a lot of dog trainers put out a lot of content and ideas out there. They push this idea that obedience is what creates the relationship. And that by practicing obedience, by practicing these behaviors, they're creating a relationship with their dog. When this is simply creating a transactional employee-employer relationship with the dog, not a true fulfilled relationship that you and your dog need to have in order to have the best life that you can with your dog. Whenever we're training our dogs, whenever we're doing things with our dogs, we need to ask ourselves, why is the dog listening to us? Is the dog listening to us out of fear of a consequence? Are they listening to us because we're holding something in front of them, such as a toy or a treat? This is a very stick and carrot approach to dog training, where we have the carrot in front of the horse that's pulling the carriage, and we have the stick behind the horse to motivate them when they slow down. Now, I'm not saying that these methods cannot get you results. You can absolutely teach a dog using a stick and carrot approach to do all these behaviors, but it's not the genuine relationship I am looking for with my dog. And when you start shifting your focus to the relationship side of things, you will end up noticing that the obedience becomes much easier with your dog. You and your dog will begin to enjoy things more. You and your dog will want to do obedience together. You will enjoy that shared mutual benefit that comes with that relationship, rather than your dog simply doing it because you have something that they want. Because at the end of the day, you have to ask this most important question. Is your dog your employee, or are they your best friend? Now let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with this concept or these ideas. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you can see more dog training tips and relationship advice between you and your dog. And then I'll see you next time.